What's up? It's Jobringus, your favorite inefficient reg. Back to the grind, doing some runecrafting. It's currently the morning of May 3rd. I've not played a ton of RuneScape in the past 2 months. I didn't make an update video at the end of March. The past 2 weeks in particular, I was out of the country, and I didn't play any RuneScape at all. I logged in maybe once just to check on the Grand Exchange or something, but I didn't play any RuneScape. So progress has been pretty slow, but nevertheless, got through one pretty big grind, earning 10 levels since the last update, and that is 90 ranged, which also earned me 2 hit points levels, and then I got one more magic level, a little bit from teleporting, but mostly from some high alchemy pushing me over the edge. So that was pretty good. I also have been able to buy some bone fragments for a pretty decent price recently, which is good. I don't know who's been selling them, but I'm happy about it because otherwise I'd probably be having to grind a lot of combats. A lot of combats to get the remainder. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I don't remember if I mentioned that already, so maybe I sound just a little bit off. We'll see if I don't know how long I have energy to speak for. But anyways, back to the runecrafting grind. At some point back in January or so, I said I would hope to have maybe base 90s by, I think, the end of May. I don't know if I meant by May or by the end of May. Probably by the end, which is very optimistic. One, I didn't account for this trip that I went on. And two, also is a little bit generous in estimating how much time I'd be willing / able to devote to RuneScape in my evenings and weekends. If I was consistent about it, that would have been possible, but not every day I would either have the time or motivation to play, or I might have other commitments. I guess that's time. I still haven't gotten around to completing the cow boss, but there's been no real urgency in it. I did finish off ranged at flesh crawlers because it was pretty easy for me to grind that out while doing other things. So just AFKing it. But it does sound like Brutus gives double combat XP, which means it would be pretty good of a method for a solo reg if I wanted to actually train a good XP rate. EHP, of course, is some probably Castle Wars alts or maybe something to that effect. It's a killing your own 99 HP, 1 defense alts over and over in some kind of PvP mode. I'm not going to do that. Instead, it's probably still pretty likely that a lot of my combat training happens at fleshies, but at least Brutus is an interesting option. I've done some giants in the past, and I don't know if there's really any need for me to go back to giants, but the XP is not terrible. And as for ranged, yeah, I think at this point I had considered going back to ogresses because the XP is a bit better than flesh crawlers and the loot is quite good. But I think the XP is not that much better that it's like now. I think like if I wanted to get faster XP, I think I would just go for Brutus. I think that's just simply a better consideration. But we'll see how we go when we get there. So as per plan that I laid out at some other point in time, I want to try and do runecrafting about 1 million XP at a time. It was nice with all the range training I did. I think I got something like 17 or 18k XP just off lamps, which is pretty cool. That's like more than half an hour of XP with this method, so we'll take it. Happy to take it, of course. Oh yeah, UIM Iodin Max, that was pretty cool. I didn't get to attend the party. I had something else came up, but big congrats to that guy. Knocking out runecrafting is the last skill. Maybe someday it'll be me, who knows. Maybe he'll Maybe he'll have maxed the second account before I get there. But, you know, it still feels like the end is in sight for base 90s grind. I'm basically going to follow the same plan I had before. I'm just going to be doing it kind of slower than I initially hoped. My initial pace was optimistic, but attack, you know, if I do flesh crawlers, that's a pretty easy thing for me to AFK at. Actually, ranged is a little tougher to AFK just because you have to make trips more frequently. Not that they're particularly frequent. It's still like close to 3 hours, I think. I think, yeah, probably around like 100k XP is what one inventory of food would get me. So that's not bad. But with melees, especially up at 90 defense now, I can get like, I think 10 strength potions worth of time down there, which is almost 7 hours. When you consider like a little bit of time being spent like resetting the aggro and such, like it basically is 7 hours. It's 6 hours and 40 minutes or so of like just strength potion doses, or at least of just like aggro time and actual combat. So that's a lot. I mean, that's like a whole day if I spend there, which means if I'm playing less than that, then like one bank trip can set me up for maybe like 2 days if I'm not playing as many hours. And that's pretty sweet. So it's a little bit easier that way. I think I had something else of note on that. I still don't really know if I should use Rune Kite Shield or Muleta. Muleta would mean that I take a little more damage, so my trips last, a little less time. But that's not like a terribly bad thing. If I went down to, say, 8 strength potions, 9 or 8 strength potions, and XP rate actually got better, that would be worth it, I think. So I guess I should try and see if there's like a way to estimate it. The thing that makes it tough is that you're mostly bottlenecked by the HP of the flesh crawlers. So what really matters is less of, or I guess like what matters really most is how much are you increasing your chances of two-shotting a flesh crawler as opposed to 3 or more. And I think, I don't remember what my max melee hit is with Scimitar at these stats, but it's somewhere in the teens, like the mid-high teens. So I already have like a fairly good chance of two-shotting them. But if the increase from the accuracy, and in particular if the strength bonus were to give me another max hit, then that could maybe make the difference and push the XP rate up a little bit. But it would kind of depend, like, okay, how much is that really moving the needle on the XP rate? I'm guessing it's just not like all that much. If it's like 1k XP per hour, but my trips get an hour shorter, I don't know if that's really worth it. I don't know if that math, that math like could definitely check out, because it's a pretty considerable amount of defense bonus you give up by not having the kite shield. I don't remember the stats on the Muleta, but it's not like it's that good. It's, I think, equal to a steel defender. So, I mean, it's fine. It's good for free to play, but it's not that good. Anyways, I did realize that as long as I can kind of keep up some self-discipline and alternate between runecrafting and other grinds and knock out about 1 million runecrafting XP in between like other grinds and milestones, then I should be able to get 99 runecrafting without just leaving some like mentally insurmountable grind to the end. And that's pretty good. I think it would be tough. I could probably motivate myself. If I were sitting here and staring down the barrel of like 93 runecrafting and maxed everything else, eventually I would probably be able to find the motivation to get it done. But that is a lot of runecrafting to just do. You know, if I had to do like 5 million runecrafting XP without really other breaks, I might be just tempted to train other skills or to pursue like free-to-play collection log or something just to break up the monotony. I'm the kind of player who struggles with prolonged monotony. I guess that's the difference between me and guys who are maxed. But of course, like anyone who enjoys RuneScape and the free-to-play experience, I like a little bit of monotony. So I think I could get there, because even if my other grinds basically look like take a skill to 99, if I put a million runecrafting XP between all those, like I think something like 10 99 grinds to get outside of runecrafting. Yeah, that's right. There's 15 skills. I already have 2 99s, and then we're not counting runecrafting, so it takes me down to 12. And then HP is going to be passive, and we'll call magic passive. It'll be mostly passive through runecrafting. So I think that leaves 10 other skills, and then I'll be needing like 8 million experience in runecrafting from 90 to 99. So that's pretty good. That adds up. That means I don't even have to do a million runecrafting XP everywhere, or I could do like 500,000, which might feel a little more manageable. Maybe what I'll do is I will just do like one runecrafting level in between every other big grind. And then the last runecrafting level will be a tough one, or I could do it in 2 segments or something. But, you know, 90 to 91, that's only like 500,000, like 550 something KXP, I think. Pretty sure I could just look at my skills and let's see, what's like just at 90. I mean, I guess ranged, I might have gone a hair over. Yeah, like 556 KXP. So that's not too bad. You know, that's less of a grind than what I'm trying to commit to with the next few weeks. If I can find the kind of motivation and time to play every day, then, you know, I can hopefully knock this runecrafting grind out in about 3 weeks. But it might take me all month. We'll see how it goes. Just speaking from last time, it'll probably take me closer to the whole month, but that's all right. You know, as long as we're making progress, that's something. So back to the old grindstone. I actually also have not done the math on how many skull fragments I'm going to need, bone fragments. But I think that with the rest of the combats, if I were to do the rest of the combats at flesh crawlers, a reasonable possibility, then with the amount of bone fragments I've been able to buy recently, there's also a pretty good chance. I think that I shouldn't have to buy too many more. So we'll see where it is when we get there. One thing I wish that golems weren't so annoying to fight. You have to like click on them to wake them up, and then you can click on them again to fight them. Maybe they aggro you after you wake them up. Actually, I haven't been there since I was like low to mid combats, but that might be like a little bit of a fun combat grind to also break up the monotony. They're not efficient by any means, but it feels awesome to be getting like an 1800 XP drop by using like a body core. So that would be a lot of fun, to do like an hour of body core runecrafting. I did do that for a lot of, I think, 1 to 60 runecrafting, or whatever I can start. I did some mind cores, and then body cores were kind of the rest of the way. So the mind altar is not easy to get to. You have to kind of like run from Camdizald to it. But if you have body cores, then this method, it's just the same thing, but 10 times faster. And that's pretty fun. I realized that this method is actually like a little bit less click intensive than I had once thought, and maybe that's because I used to play on like an older version of the official client. I think I used to play on like the legacy Java client, which I don't even know if the official client is a Java client anymore. I think it's just a C++ client now. And I think with that came features like bigger draw distance. It didn't occur to me. I thought at one point that it was easier to do this on desktop than on mobile because I was like, oh, I can just one click hit the mysterious ruins from here. I can't do that on my phone. And then I realized I just had the draw distance set to minimum on my phone, and now it's like, oh yeah, I just tilt the camera view and I one click and I'll run over there. And that's like 10 seconds of the trip is just watching your character do that run, which means it's kind of easy. Like I guess we could time it out. Here I have to do something, but yeah, it's like close to 10 seconds. Considering the whole trip takes 25 or so seconds per lap if you're pretty fast. I think that timing was about right. Maybe it was worse. Hold on, I'm trying to remember how many laps I can do. Yeah, I could do, if I'm going real fast, I can do like about 150 laps per hour. So that would have to put each lap at around 24 seconds. Yeah. So it's like half the lap is you just get to watch. Of course, it's a little annoying that, that you got to drink all these energy potions. But sure, fine. Them's the rules, and that's just part of the game. It could be a lot worse. Again, I'm pretty sure I used to have to do an intermediate click because the draw distance was just worse on the legacy client, and then click again. And now it's like the banking is focused, and then this is, you know, I could pay attention to something else. So there's certain things I could do, like on my computer and while runecrafting, like kind of chip away at other things I want to work on, or on my phone, I could, you know, do a little bit of runecrafting while I'm doing something else. Kind of. It's not that effective, but it's not so bad. And I found that it's a pretty meditative way for me to kind of put myself to sleep at night. This does mean that occasionally I'm like, all right, nice. We've got about 100 laps to go. Let's try and knock it out before bed. And then I just like put myself to sleep 40 laps in. So I don't think I've ever had a situation where I'm just like sitting here in the barbarian village, just like holding law runes, and you know, I mean, I don't keep much of value. Again, like at most I'll have like 200 law runes on me, but I don't think I've ever caught myself in that spot. But I've definitely caught myself like realizing that I'm getting very tired, like almost falling asleep at Lumbridge Bank and being like, all right, I guess we just have to call it a night with less laps to go. That's, I suppose, one of the challenges, one of the differences between how much runecrafting XP I'd like to earn in a day and how many I'm actually able to. That's all right. Today, I've already done. I started with 250 runes in my inventory, and I was at 3 million and I think 18k XP from the previous grind plus lamps. So if I finish up these runes, I mean, that'll be a good baseline for me to be reasonably happy with, but I might possibly have enough time today to do a little extra. And if I've got that kind of gas in the tank, one thing I've learned about a tougher grind like this is that I should use it, because there's inevitably going to be a day later this week where I don't have that gas in the tank, and you know, and I get like 100 laps done and that's it. So that's just a little bit of, you know, peering into my psychology. Again, I consider it a pretty good day if I can get about 2 hours of runecrafting done. That'll get me, like, I don't have to be doing perfect laps, and that'll get me about 50k XP. Can't always do that, but that's kind of the goal. And you know, I will say, it felt really nice with all the lamps I got in down in the Stronghold of Security. It felt really nice to get that extra 40 XP. So so it adds up. It adds up, and it's one of the big parts of it. Is just nice that a lot of randoms give XP lamps now that didn't used to, like all the costume guys. I think there was one I thought would, but didn't. I can't remember what it was. Was it Beekeeper? I think Beekeeper gives a lamp. Maybe I was just tricked by Pillory Guard, Pillory guard just gives you like 120 coins or some garbage. It's like nothing. I mean, it would be really cool if they all give you lamps. I'm not going to complain about like Rick Turpentine or whatever showing up when I talk to him and gives me a little bit of money. Whatever, fine, one tick. But I will even do the ones that are slow. Like when you consider how much Runecrafting XP I get, I don't even think it's technically worth the time for me to do Leo, because that random takes like 2 minutes. But maybe even 3, I don't know. It takes like a minute of your fast, I want to say, and probably like 2 minutes on average, especially since I'm usually on mobile. But I do them anyway. Oh, you know what? I think it was Prison Pete that I like thought would give me a lamp and didn't. But yeah, I should remember. It's really just the costume guys and Count Check. And again, maybe there's one that I'm forgetting. But, you know, it basically means lamps are like 3 times as likely from randoms. It's already been a little while since that update. I think that came before I took a hiatus. So it's probably been like 2 years of that being, you know, how it works now. But again, it's nice. It adds up. It adds up really fast, actually. And so it means that if I get to... This is probably going to take me to like 87 Runecrafting this next million XP. You know, that means it's even a tiny bit more XP the time after that, and that's pretty fun. After Runecrafting specifically, probably still going to do prayer. I just kind of had a hankering to do that. A little bit of bank standing. I don't know if I'll knock it out all at once. I guess we'll see how much I like it or dislike it. I know that it could get like a little annoying because you're really just tapping all the time, and in a way, I think is a little bit less fun than mining. And I think most people would not consider mining that fun. I actually have come to appreciate mining. The only thing, although the one thing I don't like about mining is that I swear someone's like always crashing you, or you're crashing someone else, but probably they're crashing you. There's some of these guys, I was mining for about an hour actually. I just kind of had the time and I didn't want to Runecraft for an hour, but I had nothing to do and I was paying attention to my phone. I didn't want to like just do another trip down to the stronghold. So I did a little bit of mining, a little under an hour of it, and I saw like really weird behavior where it's like these accounts would keep logging in as though they were world hopping through every world, like in the mining guild, and they might mine like one rock and then immediately log out. And I kind of don't know what was going on with that. It really annoyed me. And then yeah, like some accounts would just like log in and try and crash me, I guess. And I kind of fixate on that more than I should. It doesn't even matter that much, and most of them are like not that good. But it gets in my head of like, all right, let's try and be like as tick perfect as we can here. Or sometimes like in the spots where there's 2 rocks that are going to be respawned at roughly the same time for me, I'm like, I bet I can try and win the rock, paper, scissors versus them. And they think I'm going to go for this rock, so they're going to go for the other rock. But I'll actually go for it too, because I bet I'll be a tick faster and I'll crash them, and then I'll get the, like I end up doing that in my head all the time. And I wish I could just have some peace and quiet instead. It's much nicer. My favorite are the guys who they want to be there because they're just a reg mining iron ore for some reason. It's worth a little bit of money, not like enough to be worth it. I think it might be like 100 GP. So if you have no other money makers and you're a reg, like it's fine. It's fine. Especially since I guess some of the other like classic, easy, and not that good money methods, like chopping U-logs makes you just like no money these days. Those things are worth 100 GP. I actually started buying some U-logs because I thought I might end up just doing fire making with those. They're so cheap now. Yeah, it's like, what else are you gonna do? It's like, you're like, what, fish lobsters? It's like, that hasn't been good in decades. I don't know. Like, that's terrible money. So iron ore, you know what? We're at the bank. We're at the bank. We can price check it. I'm actually curious myself. How much is what is iron ore worth? 80. Okay, it's like not crazy, but you can get, I think, a little over 1,000 ores per hour if you're mining at the mining guild. I want to say it's right. Maybe it's like about 1,000. Hold on, how many ticks? Yeah, it's probably like actually a little less than 1,000 because you got to do the bank trips. They're not. They're pretty fast bank trips. I don't think there's a deposit box, so I think you have to run up to the bank. And it still takes a couple ticks to mine each one. But anyway, it's like, okay, fine. You can make like acceptable money starting at like a relatively low skill level. I guess you need 60 for the mining guild, but that's only a couple hours. So when I was a kid, I felt like 60 mining was like insurmountable, and it's not. That's because as a kid, I like kind of refused the concept of power mining iron. I was like, yeah, but like, why would I drop it on the ground? I'm gonna need to like buy it back to like smelt it. So I would just like bank all my own iron ore, and that took forever. Because it's a lot worse when you don't have the mining guild. I didn't have the foresight to see that unlocking the mining guild would take a mere few hours, and then the amount of time I would save by just starting to bank from that point on, it would be worth it. Or whatever. I don't know. I didn't get very high stats in anything as a kid, so which is typical of being a kid. Anyways, what was I saying? My favorite types of guys in the mining guild are the ones who would try to mine and crash me, but they're only interested in collecting iron ore. So when I'm dropping it, they just pick it up and then they leave. And then they come back, and guess what? I've basically gotten a full inventory of iron ore on the ground for them. And then they just pick it back up and they leave. And they like that because they get their quick iron ore. They get it really quickly, in fact. And I get my experience undisturbed. I was supposed to take bone fragments and not energy potion that lap. Yeah, well, when I mess up, I just bank at Lumbridge and refill there. I like to, well, I gotta do the bone fragments regardless. Yeah, I do like to kind of sync up how many scepter charges I have with how many runes I have in my inventory. So I sort of know, like, for me right now, it's like on the 0, like every 10 runes, it's like I gotta use a scepter charge. And so I know, like, when I'm at like rune, XX1, then I gotta bank scepter charges. But what the fuck did I do? Oh, man, how did I screw that one up? Took the bone fragments out and no essence. I still make that mistake every once in a while. It's not too often, but I think that's the first mistake I've made like that today, where I just take the wrong inventory, or occasionally I teleport too hastily. Usually I would rather accidentally waste a tick than to teleport early, because it's like kind of devastating. You just feel like an idiot. Well, anyways, I've rambled for a good enough time. Hopefully I can knock out a good couple levels this month. At worst, I would be happy enough with 3 runecrafting levels, but maybe we could do a little more than that. If I could get maybe like 1360 total, that'd be pretty sweet. Alright, thanks for listening, everyone. See you guys next month.